everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm starting off the video by announcing the winners of the All the Shop Hop. The three winners are Jana A, Jenny Flower, and Beatrice Lawson. Congratulations to the winners. I'll go ahead and message you guys so that you can claim your $25 gift card to Scrappy Tales. Thank you to everyone who participated in that hop, and sorry for the very late winner announcement. So for today's video, I'm going to be creating 3 pop-up vases using the new pop-up dies from our latest Tropical Bliss collection. So that is the octagon vase, the trapeze, and the triangular shaped vase. And then I'm going to be using a few new flower sets like the layered orchid, the layered hibiscus. To go with the flowers, I'm going to add some assorted tropical leaves. And then for one of my cards, I'm going to be featuring the new flamingos. So I went ahead and die cut everything off camera for all 3 cards. I'm going to start by paper piecing these flamingos, and there's 3 total feather layers for the flamingo, and then there's a few dies to decorate their faces. I cut them from 3 shades of pink, and the base layer you can see is a light pink glitter cardstock. And then I went with like a hot pink color and a slightly darker pink. And then for the beaks, I cut it from white, and then the tip of the beaks I cut from black. There's even this cute little eyeshadow look to their eyes that I just added. And there's a lot of detail in all of the new bird sets that we brought out, and you guys are loving the birds, and so do I. I think the flamingos are my favorite just because they're one of my favorite animals. But you can see as I add each layer to them, they're really coming to life. And it's just a really cute image, and I love them together. So I think they'd be cute for like a romantic card, which is kind of what I did today. I used the sentiment Let's Flamingo from the new stamp set. So there's one completed flamingo. And I grouped the tail feathers and the back feathers together for both flamingos so that you know what is the same, and you can cut both at once to save a little bit of time. So like I said, I'm going to be creating 3 pop-up vases, and there is a 10% bundle on the vases, and it ends tonight. So starting tomorrow, they're going to be 5% off. So if you really like these cards, I would go ahead and take advantage of that deal because each vase is really unique. They're all A7 sized, and they all can fold flat for mailing, but you will see that they're different shapes and sizes. So they have their own style, but they also coordinate because they have like geometric patterns that comes with them. So for 2 of my cards today, I'm going to use our new pattern paper, and for one of them, I'm going to use the backgrounds that come with the die. So for the first card, I'm going to be using the flamingo pattern paper that coordinates with the dies. So here you can see I have my trapeze vase. I cut it twice from heavyweight black cardstock, and I added double-sided tape to each of the tabs. I decided to glue my base together before adding the pattern paper just to make sure I wasn't going to glue the flamingos upside down. But basically all you're going to do is attach one end to the other at the top, and then again still at the top you're going to attach the ends together. And then you have the bottom parts, and once the top is assembled, you just go around and attach each tab at the bottom. And you're going to notice that there's 2 open areas. That is because that was necessary in order for the card to fold flat. So here you can see it's all folded, and I'm just kind of reinforcing the score lines. And you're also going to want to make sure that you score that center so that you get that cool trapeze shape. I actually should have scored those or folded them before assembling it, so you're going to see that I had to kind of fold them down after it was assembled, but that's okay. It ended up working. But if you want it to be like nice and crisp, make sure you do that before you glue everything together. So I decided to glue the base first before adding my decorative panels because, as you can see, these flamingos are directional, meaning that you could accidentally glue these upside down. And you can ask me how I know, because I made one prior, and you can see that there's black behind these panels, and that is because the first one I made, I glued them to the base before actually constructing it, and my flamingos were upside down. So this time I made the base, and now I'm adding the panels. So if you have a non-directional pattern paper, meaning it's just a regular pattern and it doesn't matter if it's upside down, sideways, any type of way, you won't have to worry about that. But because these flamingos are facing upright, I wanted to make sure that I did not glue them upside down. And you're gonna wanna make sure that those open sides are at the bottom of the vase so that you can add your elements to the top and it's gonna be nice and closed. Now, if you want the bottom to be closed, there is a cap that's included, and I'll show that in another video. But in this instance, I wanted to show you guys that each of these vases fold flat. But the last one I do, I will show you the cap, just because that one is a little bit more complex, and I want to show you that option if you want to convert these vases into more of like a gift or a home decor piece. So now I'm going to add the bridges to the top of this vase so that I can add my flamingos inside. So included, you get a bridge with a score line in the center and 2 tabs on the sides. I did add double-sided tape to each of the tabs, and now I'm just attaching them to the corners. You're going to want to do opposite corners and make sure that you're attaching them to the corners that still allow the card to fold flat. So before adding these, fold it down and attach it to the closed corners. So that way you can fold it down. If you were to add it to the corners that have the open bottoms, then you're going to close the whole vase and it's not going to fold flat. So you can see I went ahead and secured those by folding it down, and you can see kind of here that I glued them on the corners where the bottom is closed. Don't add them to the corners where they're open, or else you're going to not be able to close the card. So I hope that makes sense. It's pretty easy, and it's one of those things where once you make one, it's super easy. I went ahead and attached my little flamingos inside the vase. So I attached the back one directly to the card base in the back, and then the one in the front I attached to one of the bridges that I just added. And now I have some assorted tropical leaves, and I'm just going to tuck a few throughout and fill in that space. These white flowers are the new plumerias, and I thought that just added another bit of pink and also white, which ties in with the pattern paper at the bottom. And you're going to see that the flamingos on the pattern paper are the exact same flamingos as the die cuts, so this whole collection coordinates really well together, and I just love how this card turned out. I did add the Let's Flamingo banner across the trapeze, and here I'm showing you how the card folds flat, and then here I'm going to show you how it comes out of the envelope. It's super cute, and then it just pops into place and you can set it on a table. And again, if you want to add that cap so that the bottom is completely closed off, you can, but in this instance I want to mail this card, and I think it turned out super cute. So for card 2, I am using the background dies that are included in the actual pop-up set, and I chose the like Aztec looking print, and I cut those from heavyweight white cardstock and then the shadows from light purple. I plan on creating a white and purple orchid, so I thought that this matched really well. And for this triangular shaped vase, you're going to want to cut the base 4 times and then your decorative panels 4 times. And as you can see, this vase is taller and it's more narrow. So I think it's really great for a single stemmed flower, and it's the easiest out of all of them because you don't have to add as much inside the vase. I think the vase is really beautiful on its own, and it's probably my favorite out of the 3. And you can also trim it down to work as a slimline card. So if you want this to be super tall, you can do that with this die. I sized it for an A7 just because the other two were also A7, but this one I feel you can do a lot with and turn it into a mini slimline pop-up or even a full-size slimline. So here I'm gluing my decorative panels to the bases, which again I cut from heavyweight black. I have been loving using black instead of white lately, and especially with these vibrant tropical cards, the black really makes the colors stand out. So I went ahead and added all of those and set them aside, and I'm going to paper piece my orchid now. So this is the layered orchid. You get everything to create a gorgeous lifelike orchid, and it's about 5.5 or 5.25 inches tall, so it works really well on A2 and A7 cards. And for this one, I'm creating those white orchids with like the little bit of purple in the center. And I did include the second layer to the orchid, which I cut from light purple, but honestly, I really like the orchids with just the first layer and then the centers. But in this instance, I went ahead and added the second layer because it adds a lot of pretty detail. And in total, this one only took 6 minutes to completely paper piece. So this one's super simple and very pretty. And there is a third layer to those like little tendrils at the top, but I decided not to add them. I even included the centers, which I cut from gold mirror cardstock, and the little clips that hold the stems together, which I also die cut from gold mirror. So I think out of all the flowers from this collection, the orchid is my favorite. I just really love this image. I think it's good for with sympathy cards. It's just a really elegant looking flower. So I am now taking my strong double-sided tape. This is from Uline, and I'm adding it to the tabs on each of the triangle bases. And you essentially glue this the exact same way we did on the first. You're just going to attach them side by side. Make sure before you attach them, you reinforce those score lines so that it will fold nicely. I do suggest using strong double-sided tape for this. Usually I also add glue so that I can shift it around if I need to, but these are so simple, you really don't need the glue. So here you can see I'm just attaching them all side by side, and then once I get to the end, I will attach each end together, and that's it. So out of all of them, I think this is the most simple, but it's super striking. I really love the Aztec pattern, and there's also a triangle pattern that you can use. Here I am adding the bridge that's gonna go across, and this one you don't have to attach in the corners. You literally just attach each tab right in the center because you can really only fit one in there, and very simple. All right, so this orchid is too tall to fit in an A7 card. You're gonna wanna make sure that you don't exceed 7 inches. So I went ahead and trimmed it, but I still wanted to use that leaf, that like base leaf. So I'm going to glue that to the bridge that I just added, and then I'm going to add the orchids to the back of the vase. And I did use heavyweight green cardstock for the base image of the orchid, so that I didn't have to add any sticks behind, and it will stand upright on its own. So the only thing I did with this is I added a fan leaf to the very back, and then a sentiment that I white heat embossed on a black die cut circle, and I popped that up with foam tape. So here you can see that it fits inside an A7 envelope, and this one is just stunning, and it did not take long at all. There's only one image and one leaf in there. So this one is a great one to mass produce. Like I said, it only takes about 5 to 6 minutes to paper piece that orchid, and it's simply stunning. So now we're on to the last vase, and I again use the 12 by 12 pattern paper for this to cut the base or the panels, the decorative panels, and then I cut the base twice from heavyweight cardstock. I also cut 2 bridges and the large cap. So I want to show you guys how to attach the cap if you want it to be completely closed. So again, I'm going to attach each end together. I'm adding my double-sided tape to each tab. There's only 2 on this vase. I'll reinforce those score lines and then attach each end together, roll it up into that octagon shape, and then attach each end. And that's it. That's the completed vase, and you can turn it upside down to create more of like a pot instead of a vase, but in this instance, I will be creating a vase. And I was super inspired by the colors on the pattern paper, so those are the colors I decided to cut my hibiscus flowers from. And here I'm just going to show you how to paper piece. There's 3 layers to these flowers, and there's 2 total blooms and then 1 stem. And then you even get like the centers, and it's super pretty. But the hibiscus flowers that it's on the pattern paper are the exact same flowers as these dies. So again, everything matches. You guys know if you've been following me for a while, I love matchy-matchy. We also have the pattern paper in the 6x6 size, and there's 4 of each design. So if you want to decorate a vase, you should, actually I know you will have enough paper to decorate a full pop-up, but that's not going to leave you with a lot of extra papers. So that's kind of why I decided to also create a 12x12 size. Personally, I create a lot of pop-up cards, and then my favorite flat card bases are A7 and Slimline. So I have to use a larger sheet size to decorate those cards. So I opted to also create a 12x12. I know a lot of you prefer 6x6, but with one 12x12, you can decorate an entire pop-up card, which is what I personally really love about it. So now I'm going to add the cap to this card base. Again, I cut it from heavyweight black, and I'm adding glue to each of the tabs. You can see it's an octagon. I folded the tabs upwards, and I'm taking the vase, and one at a time, I'm gluing each tab to each of the panels at the bottom of the card base. And I opted for liquid glue here because, as you can see, I have to go back on some of the tabs and wiggle it around. So I would definitely suggest liquid glue for this. And there's also a cap for the top if you want to create that pot instead of the vase. And here I got a little bit excited to start decorating this that I forgot to add the bridges. And in this case, the bridges, where I add them, it doesn't really matter because this is not going to fold flat anyway. I will do another video where I have this one fold flat, but again, you're going to want to make sure that you glue the bridges on the sides that are closed, not open, so that it will fold flat just like the first card. So I attached my orange hibiscus to the front of the base, and I do want to mention that I cut the second layer of the hibiscus from orange glitter cardstock, and I love how that looks. I really need to go out and buy more colored glitter cardstock. I didn't have a hot pink. I definitely would have done that with my back flowers as well, but yeah, it just added a really pretty shine. You'll see in the pictures how that looks. All right, so now I'm attaching my bridges the exact same way I did as the first card, just picking 2 corners. I'm going to add the leaves behind these 2 pink hibiscus. And these are a nice size, so you really only need 3. And I think these, with the stem, took about 10 or 11 minutes each. In this case, you can see I cut the stem off and I'm just using the leaves. And I love the colors on this card. It really pops. And then I think I only add a single leaf to this card. And then here I have my Heat Embossed sentiment. All of the sentiments today are from the new stamp set. This one says, "Hope your day is outstanding." And then here I have that single leaf that I'm adding to the top just to add a little bit more green. And that will finish off the last card. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Here I'll pull in the other 2 that I made. Let me know which vase is your favorite. I think the tall one is my favorite. It's so elegant looking. I hope you all have an amazing day. If you want to see more inspiration, I encourage you guys to check out my showcase video where I show all the new products. I also made over 20 cards for that video, so you're definitely going to want to check that out. I'm also giving away two $50 gift cards. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.